Today I've got two techniques I'm going to be sharing with you. They're both very easy and fun, and hopefully they'll make you look at your design paper just that little bit different. I've got the Exuberant Paper Pack here from Altenew, and these patterns are really fun colours and they're the perfect size for us card makers. So what are we waiting for? Hello and welcome back to another Take Two with Teresa Altenew, and we're going to be making two beautiful cards today. I'm going to get straight into the techniques with the design paper, and starting with my first idea, which is to die cut an image. I'm going to be die cutting one of the vases from the Versatile Vases 2 set, and any of these patterns would really work for this from this paper pack. I chose one of the lighter colours and thought it'd be nice to make it look a little bit rounded by using the coordinating stencil and a mini blending tool to just add a small bit of grey ink around the edges. Design paper doesn't have to be just for backgrounds. There are some great techniques that we can do with them, and cutting out images or even a frame of design paper can really give it a totally different look. My second idea today is to actually stamp the image directly onto the design paper, and we're going to be doing some ink blending. So I have got a bouquet from the Delicate Garden set. I'm going to be using this set on both of the card designs today, and I'm actually going to be stamping direct onto the design paper. One of the things to be careful here is to choose a paper that's not too busy and something that you're going to still see the image through. It's not going to overwhelm the image, and when you add your colouring after, you're still going to be able to see the shading. While I'm stamping, I decided to also stamp out the other image that I'm going to use today and a couple of butterflies, which are from the Meadow Reflection set. One thing to be aware of with the photopolymer stamps is that they're not all created equal, so sometimes they can be a bit thicker than others in different packs, and because these are from different sets, I noticed that they weren't stamping evenly, but I'm going to show you how to fix that a little bit later on, so stay tuned for that. Alright, so I'm using the coordinating stencils now to add the colour to the flower directly onto the actual design paper. What I love about this technique is it gives you that subtle pattern coming through onto the design paper. I usually like to start with a lighter ink as well if I'm not sure, because I can always come in and add a darker ink over top, but I don't want to go too heavy straight away. And sometimes, even though it looks like not much is happening, there is actually a lot more colour being laid down than you think. I also chose not to do the base layer of the actual flower. I wanted the design paper to be like the base colour, but you could certainly do that if you prefer, or depending on which design paper you choose. It was a little bit different when it came to the leaf images. I didn't want the pink to show in the leaves, so I actually did cover the whole base colour of the leaves and also the second layering colour. I love that this is such a great way to stretch your products and get a totally different look depending on what colour you choose for the background in your design papers and what subtle patterns are there. So I'm going to do what I like to call my easy alcohol marker colouring technique. If you don't have a lot of time, this is a great way to add some quick colour to an image, and particularly good for flowers because it's a little bit messy looking. All I'm doing here is adding two different colours to my petals, just flicking out with a feathering motion from the centre of the petals with my darker colour. And then once I've sort of gone around and done all of my other flowers, I don't worry about the ink drying because you can reactivate alcohol marker ink by just laying colour over top again. You don't have to come in straight away. It does work, I promise. And then I'll come in with a lighter colour and just blend over top. I like to leave some of white edges around my petals just as a bit of a highlight, and you will notice that as I'm adding the lighter colour, it does actually reactivate the alcohol marker ink beneath and get rid of some of those sharp lines. Although you'll see them, once we restamp this image, it's not going to be anywhere near as noticeable, I promise. I did the same technique on the leaves, but I think I need to refill my markers because they weren't blending quite as nicely but I did come in and add some darker colours to the leaves and the stems, and I did also come and do that on the flowers. Adding that little bit of depth to the flowers makes all the difference. I didn't reblend this after I added it, and I find that a really pale purple works really well for this. But if you didn't have that, you could also come in with a really light grey colour would work as well. It may look a hot mess, but I promise it'll look good when we're finished. So now I'm going to share how I restamped this, even though they're uneven. I'm basically just going to stamp the ones that are thicker first. So these butterflies were actually a little bit thicker, the photopolymer stamp. So I'm using my Obsidian ink, lining up my stamp wheel. I'm sorry I forgot that I was focused in. I'd been focused in on my camera for the colouring. And I restamped the butterflies. Then I cleaned them and removed them. So by doing that, it just is going to allow me to restamp the flower, and it worked perfectly once I'd done this. This is not a real problem. It's certainly something that we can work around, and I've had it happen in all of my stamping platforms. It actually is the thickness of the stamp that's stopping it from stamping. Alright, so now it's time to get my cards ready to assemble them. I'm adding a sentiment here from the Delicate Garden set. It says happy birthday. And I did decide to add that directly to the design paper. I added my panel to the front of an A2 sidefold card using some glue tape. And I did die cut the Meadow Reflections butterflies, and I just popped that. That's the only dimension on this card. I know, it's a bit odd for me. I usually like to add so much dimension to my cards, so this would be a great one for posting. Alright, so with the vase image, I did want to, because this is going to be a very clean and simple card, I did want to add a little bit of dimension. So I've layered up some foam tape on the vase and on the flowers. I like to join them together, and then I can just adhere the whole image as one onto the front of the card. I had a sentiment that I'd already made from the Bold Sentiment set, which I added, as well as the other butterfly. I told you these flowers would work out in the end. You didn't believe me for a hot minute there, did you? Thanks so much for joining me here today. I do hope you're inspired to get some design paper out and create. Let me know in the comments below which technique you preferred or which card you liked the best. And if you did like them, please click on the thumbs up button. And if you haven't subscribed, what are you waiting for? It's totally free. And I've got 2 more videos here to inspire you, maybe to make some more floral card designs. I'll look forward to seeing you there. Till next time, happy paper crafting. Bye.